Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be talking about both AoE fire DPSs being the Chinese New Year Rin, and of course the standard character An herself. Now some of you guys are kind of torn on whether you should summon. Do you feel like you should summon for these, or at least for Rin for the matter here? Some of you are worried that An is getting absolutely replaced, and I'm going to be going over all of this here, comparing with at least of course their similarities, whether it is dupe wise, just the differences of that. We're gonna be going over of course things that are like passive wise. We're gonna be going over card sets and stuff like that, and this is probably going to help you decide if you really want to go for this character or if you really shouldn't. As a TLDR, I'll just straight up say it right now, Rin is amazing, but I just don't see it's worth for a free to play to go for her, especially when you still have An, who's also just great. But that's just TLDR. If you guys really want to of course sit back and relax and enjoy the video here, I'll be explaining those things very soon. So all right, let's get straight into it. So we have the new Chinese New Year Rin that is a fire AoE DPS, and the main reason why this is such a huge topic here at this standpoint is because this is the first time where we've had not only the first, the actual first same element here, but also the same role. Now we've had same elements in the past, but not under the same role. Usually it's with an AoE and a single target, or maybe a single target DPS and a healer, something of that sort that really keeps that fine line in between. But since there are two characters who are now part of the same element and the same role, it brings in the thought process of power creeping. It brings in the thought process of which is better, because of course you always will have those questions going around. Now I'll straight up tell you this here, there is actually nothing too bad about both of these characters. Both of them, even at low dupes, are really good here, especially if, let's say, you have 0 dupes on Rin and 0 dupes on An. Rin will do the more damage here, but the reason why they're both still amazing is because both of them can actually work together, surprisingly. It's one of the few things that I've been kind of sitting here experimenting with, and even though having An and her on the same team is not always the best situation, if you wanted to and you didn't have like a buff or anything like that, this would be pretty darn decent to use. Or you could just go ahead and use Key as a debuffer, who also could take this place for Rin, both of which still works here in general, and they're both really good characters, but people want to see the comparisons anyways, so let's go ahead and do it. Now, one of the reasons why I would say that you really don't need to go for Rin here, and this is mainly going to be a con, or at least be playing devil's advocate against Rin here, is because An is one of the first standard characters that you can very well get your hands on. This character without a doubt helps you cheese a lot of content, seeing of course burns were crazy, or still are crazy to be honest, for a lot of different content. Burn teams are really good here. An gets it done pretty well, and not only do you just get her early, but you also can get her 5-star weapon early for free. This isn't like, oh, I have to summon for this. No, you can get her and her 5-star weapon plus some dupes just for free if you just go ahead and play the game, complete the book, and it's pretty darn easy to do so. This really puts her on a pedestal, seeing you not only are getting yourself just dupes for this character pretty easy, but you're also getting up that weapon, which is really nice. While when it comes down to Rin here, although she is an amazing character, you do have to keep in mind there is a silver lining between limited characters and a standard character. She may of course do more at a lower dupe rate, or at least do something similar at a lower dupe rate, but we have to think of how of obtaining this character. One, you have to summon on her actual banner specifically, which unlike a standard banner here, aka An, it is not always going to be here. With at least Rin, she's being limited, so you're gonna have to wait till when she does a rerun, especially if she goes away and you don't get her. While with An, you can just go ahead and make use of the standard banners that you're getting with all your freebies, or either just end up losing a 50-50 or anything like that. You could possibly get An out of the ordeal. This in general just helps you get up An even quicker, while Rin here is a little bit more sketchy to try and get. As long as well with the weapon here, unlike with An where you can get it for free, this weapon you very well will need to of course summon for. It's not going to be an easy time to at least get both her and the weapon, especially if you're trying to do things thoroughly and just get the character himself from like the guaranteed banner and just keep on moving. It's going to be kind of difficult. So in that terms of things here, off bat, I'm automatically saying On is the way to go with this one. As much as I do love Rin and she does deal a ton of damage, for a lot of you guys who are deciding whether you should go over On or Rin, definitely this is one of the things you want to check off on your list, which is going to be here available way longer and which is just going to be leaving. As much of course, the one who's leaving, aka Rin, is absolutely insane, it's also probably a reason that you kind of want to reevaluate just going ahead and summoning, seeing that sometimes we don't get the weapons, sometimes we don't get dupes of the characters, and which Rin doesn't really need them too often. But compared to at least a A6 On or anything like that, any dupes on in general, she is gonna a little bit underperform a little, or either maybe overperform by just a little, when On still does the job pretty darn well. Now, the next thing I want to go ahead and at least compare here is the usabilities for both of these characters. On is meant mainly for at least the burning / DOT side of things. Her whole deal, especially with her sets here, are more or less just DOT / burning. There's nothing else you really use her for, unlike at least Rin. Now, this isn't a bad thing. To be honest, On is actually really good with this DOT side standard here. Seeing that she's able for this AoE DPS here, she's really good at least clearing, ending a lot of fights very quickly, and of course, being able to gain certain at least marks that she does have, gain concentration from at least her 1 skill, pretty sure from 2 skill and 3 skill, well no, 1 and 2 skill here, which then allows her to deal some major damage with her 3 skill. Pretty much the more concentration you do have, of course you're going to deal some crazy damage. That is what we really want to see from this character, in which On really does do it. It doesn't really take too much to build either. There's no like really trickiness when it comes down to it. You just build her like a regular DPS. Rin is kind of the same way, but with On here, she's more of the basic kind of release, basic right down here, right? So she does a ton of damage. She's meant for that fire side. While Rin over here with the playstyle is actually meant for something a little different. Not only does she do a ton of damage here, but she more or less is focusing on technicals. Now, this is the first time we've ever had to really hardcore pay attention to technicals, especially in the game. But of course, you very well do have this now introduced. Now, Makoto did have something like this, like talked about with technicals and stuff like that, but you didn't really see the difference with technicals here. While with Rin, you actually see that said difference. This difference really is just us talking about the various movements here. With her, she specifically goes off of technicals. So she's able to at least trigger ones that are called like backdraft, where you're using fire and fire skills. Or either you're able to do ice burn, where you're using a fire and an ice skill, which helps out your damage taken, or at least the enemy's damage taken, or fire and ice skill at least damage. Or you can even do ones called shockwave that deal an additional hit of fire as long as you trigger a winded effect. These are all things that of course only specified for Rin. This kind of gives Rin a little bit of a plus up, because compared to at least this standard character, if you build Rin really well, of course, and then of course you're adding in the technicals that you have at low A's, even compared to an A6, he is outperforming immensely. Now, does this immediately tell you, hey, go for this character instead of actually working on? I would say no. The main reasoning for this comes down to mainly banners that are coming up next. As good as this character is, the good part about this game is you don't have to get every new character, right? You don't have to stay with the most relevant character. That only applies if you're going with SOS, and that means the top ranking of SOS being 8-star, definitely, and then maybe some of the top like 50 of 7-star. Most free-to-plays are usually in 6-star and 7-star getting the max reward, so when you take that into account, you don't really need to get the newest character every single time. It's not really a necessity to do so. So even though Rin is performing way better at that point in time and has something a lot different on, there's still not a necessity for it. Therefore, you very well can still use On as an AoE fire DPS instead of going for the newest AoE fire DPS being Rin. Of course, at the end of the day, if you want to do so, you very well can, but do understand they do have drastically at least different playstyles, and can very well work together. If you really just wanted to do something like that and get Rin anyways, I would suggest go about the route of using them together, because I'm being honest, it's pretty nice to actually use these guys together. But more or less, the last thing that we're going to be talking about here is actually going off of their damage in general, or going off of their usability. Now, as I was saying, they're both used for different things. On does a ton of damage, and I think the best way to show this off, of course, is at A6 for me, so you guys can see exactly what you can get up to, especially if either you lose 50/50s or either if you are just been playing for a while and you finally have her duped down. So how we're going to compare this here. Instead of using any of our, I was going to go ahead and actually use cord here, but I don't want to mess up and accidentally, actually, yeah, we'll still use cord. So what we're going to do, we're going to use this team here and we're going to experiment with both these said same characters. I'm going to do the exact same things and you guys can see the damage wise. On at A6, especially if you are free to play and then that's all you can really do in the end, or at least that's what you can get to at the end, isn't bad. She's actually very, very good. She helps get done with a lot of stuff here. I feel like a lot of folks are kind of just leaving her in the dust with this. Now, did I just say A6 as a free to play? Yes, I did. You very well can do this. It's just gonna come with time, of course. Lots of 50/50s lost and time. They give us plenty of 5-star characters as well, so I mean, like, you definitely can do this in the end. But for damage wise, we're just going to immediately pop off. Actually, I'm going to start this with, yeah, let's just immediately pop off the AoE here, right? So AoE hit 300k damage. Awesome, looking amazing. On's dealing some crazy damage, and of course you get the additionals for being at least what's it called, for being A6, right? You get the additional little fire hits and stuff like that. The good part about this is you guys are seeing the damage that she can do. This is why I'm trying to tell you guys that you don't really want to sleep too much on. She still does pretty darn good, and this is me with a mediocre kind of set on her. So 300k in the first time, nothing too different here. And the second time, I'm gonna go ahead and use Utaba here just to make them a little bit weaker. And then when it comes On's turn here, I probably should have used what is it called, her other move, to be honest, because now she won't have her big boy move. I accidentally used that early, so she is going to deal a little bit less than what I would have preferred. But the same technically will be said for Rin on her round 1. So instead of doing anything with at least our cord, what we're going to go ahead and do is, you know what, yeah, just gonna go ahead and boost here. Boom. Get this extra damage bonus up here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and guard, making sure we do nothing with our cord, and then we're gonna pop off. Let's just go ahead and just pop this off here, because either way it's still gonna deal a lot of damage. 73k on each character, and then of course we can end it with an all attack. Now this right there just shows On's absolutely amazing, especially once you get her really high no matter what. This is a character that you will be able to slowly build up no matter what, right? You don't have to wait for no reruns. You don't have to wait for any of that. This is a character that you can slowly build up. It shows that a standard character can get to this point, though you will have to get dupes on them and stuff like that, but it still can show that utterly when deciding this could be your On. You're just gonna have to put a lot of work into it. Now, if we go ahead and check out Rin, you're obviously gonna see she's gonna deal more. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it with you. She's gonna deal more, but if you look at the damage markers and you look at something similar here, you can kind of add it up in your head and actually see exactly, hey, these guys kind of do some similar damages here, and is it really worth for me to go for this character and just like all out just throw out what I have for savings instead of using it on a new banner, or is it worth me just going ahead and what's it called, saving and waiting on this? So for the first turn, what I normally do is I do the setup, actual old thing here, 98k. As you can see, very low, but that is a setup. Now we do have the fire on us, so we are going to get a fire technical. Once again, as I did say, technicals are her main ordeal. They're her main deal to do. And oh no, we ended up actually getting what's it called, confused there. So I do want to reset this here. But when we go ahead and redo this anyways here, you're going to see her do the technical damage. And although it starts off low, she will then end up hitting very, very high, which is going to make up for a lot of her stuff. Does this mean the other character is absolutely useless? No, it actually means that the other character has a lot more value, seeing that she's able to keep up. She is a permanent character, or at least our On is a permanent character, while this one is a limited, and you will only have a limited time period to get this character. So it makes it even more so impressive that a character who is a standard and that a character who normally you would have to wait on, this character who's a standard is able to keep up to that standard position here. Now, is this me telling you guys just not to summon? No, it's more or less me saying that, hey, if you want to make the good use out of at least your what's it called, your currency and everything of that nature, you might just want to go ahead and consider something different. But at the end of the day, that is going to be up to you, and I'm not really going to dictate that at all because it's your accounts at the end of the day. But I did want to at least show a little bit of a difference. So we're winded here, so we are not getting the full capabilities of everything that we should be getting here. But I think it really shouldn't avoid, or it shouldn't really mess up too much here, which let's go ahead and use our defense down. Let's then go ahead and use Go Wolf Wolf real quick. All right, and then use this right here. And we're not changing a single thing, so I'm gonna block again. Now, if we go ahead and use what she needs to use, which is her form, and then follow up with the little weapon hit here, you guys will see the damage here. So boom, 500k right then and there. 500k right then and there. As you can see, just like on, she managed to get them all down immediately. And the only reason we didn't kill there is because we had someone who's knocked. But to be honest, she was going to kill there, and that was going to be an easy win, as you can see with the burn. Both characters deal immense amount of damage, though one has, of course, a limited time, and the other you can build over time. So the whole point is, either way you go with the AoE DPS here, both are really good. It doesn't really matter, though I do suggest you guys to utilize your currency very wisely. But at the end of the day, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the comparison, and I'm hoping that this cleared up a lot of different things that you guys were asking me, because I had a lot of people asking, should I go for the red dress character? Should I go for at least do fire AoE DPS, or should I stick with on? To be honest, if you're free to play, I suggest stick with on. It's probably the best way to go about it, unless you're brand new to the game. Then I mean, you could very well get at least Rin. But if you've been in here for a long time, you're free to play, it's probably best to just go ahead and stick with on, because at this point in time, I'm pretty sure some of you guys who've been playing since day one definitely have a dupe or two on instead of at least utilizing the new Rin here. You definitely want to save your currency, and with the upcoming banners here, I definitely would say that's the best bet. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Peace out.